Good afternoon. This is a Kansas City Royals instant reaction from the 580 Sports Talk crew on our 580 Sports Talk YouTube page and on Facebook at WIBW News. We haven't had the occasion to do one of these before because it's been 9 years since the Kansas City Royals played October baseball, but they were welcomed back in style this afternoon with a 1-0 win over the Baltimore Orioles in Game 1 of their best-of-3 American League wildcard series at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The Royals eke out the victory. Bobby Witt Jr., the lone RBI. Cole Ragans, the win. Lucas Erceg, the save. Corbin Burns, the hard luck loser. We'll get to it all here. Appreciate you hanging out with us again. You can watch us live right now on the YouTube and the Facebook. The YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk. Subscribe if you haven't. And we're on Facebook at WIBW News. I'm Dan Lucero. Brendan Dzwierzynski is next to me, beneath me, but not like in a literal sense, or a figurative sense, just a literal sense on the video stream, is Spencer Dupuis. And boys, we got ourselves a good old-fashioned October ace-off today. Two brilliant starting outings by Cole Ragans and Corbin Burns. Those are a pleasure to watch, and this was an enjoyable baseball game for neutrals, I'm sure. Royals fans, maybe not so enjoyable till that final out nestled in the glove of Salvador Perez after Lucas Erceg struck out the pinch hitter Heston Kjerstad. But we got to start with the pitching. We got to start with Cole Ragans. Removed from the game due to calf cramps. That's not great, but for the 6 innings before that, he absolutely was. No runs on 4 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Again, the Royals have a bona fide ace, and he got to show it on the biggest stage today, Brendan.
I'm so impressed by everything that Cole Ragans was able to do today. I was like everyone, and as soon as we saw him not on the mound to start that,
I think we may have lost Brendan. He's frozen.
That Ragans was not out there competing.
Go ahead, Brendan. We got you back.
All right, yeah, just saying that I was so impressed by everything he did. Everybody was freaking out that he was pulled from the game. Thankfully, it's just calf cramp. Well, I don't want to say just. It could be something worse than that. Hopefully, it is just calf cramps for Ragans. He's going to be fine, hopefully, for another start coming up next round. But the changeup was working. The fastball was absolute money throughout the entire game. I mean, he looked like he could have easily gone 7, if not 8, just based on how well he was pitching in the game. He looked comfortable, never rattled. The Orioles never threatened. This wasn't like some of those games early in the season where like Brady Singer was allowing 2 base runners an inning, but still wasn't allowing any runs, and they were walking guys all over. No, this was just domination from the very beginning. And frankly, Corbin Burns was awesome in this game too, save for not even really mistakes to anyone. There was a bloop hit in the first inning on the second pitch of the game to Michael Massey. You had the walk to Miguel Garcia and the single by Witt after the stolen base. Like that's it. That's an incredible day for pretty much every single pitcher in Major League Baseball, especially a guy as good as Corbin Burns. And he got outdueled by Cole Ragans, who was flawless in the game, truly functionally flawless through 6 innings. And I told you guys at the start of the week on Monday in the 5 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk, we went through our keys to this series. What is it going to take for the Royals to win? And the thing I pointed to was you've got to lean on the most reliable parts of this team when you get to October. Is that the offense? Absolutely not. Bobby Witt Jr. came through in the clutch. Of course it was Bobby Witt Jr. who came through in the clutch. But other than that, we should note, and we'll get to this, I know, 1 run. That was enough to win, but it was 1 run through 9 innings. Not a whole lot of reliability from the offense. The bullpen has been better, obviously, over the whole course of the month of September, but it's been the starting pitching that has been the workhorse group for this Royals team throughout the entire year. You say, Cole Ragans, if you go out there and dominate, we feel like we're going to win this series because now the Orioles are going to go with their number 2, who's not nearly as good as our number 2, Seth Lugo, not, this season anyway. And we feel great. And now we've got 2 bites at the apple to move on to the ALDS. You've got to feel so comfortable. It's a lot of pressure to put on a young guy in his first postseason start. But man, Cole Ragans was just stellar. Can't say enough about the guy.
He was, and the pivotal point in the game, Spencer, came in that 5th inning when the Orioles put 2 on with 1 out after some MJ Melendez misadventures, to put it kindly, in left field. But Ragans facing, I believe, 9-1 in the order there. That was McCann and it was Gunnar Henderson. Yeah. Ragans went right after him, got the 2 punch outs, kept that runner stranded at third. Chris for joining us live in the YouTube chat. Says once the Orioles didn't score in the fifth, they felt like dead meat. I think that's right. I think games are won and lost. There are pivot points like that, and for Cole Ragans to stand up and be counted in that pivot point of the game, that is ace behavior. That's what that is.
Yeah, and I think ace behavior too is 8 strikeouts, no walks. I think no free passes in this one is huge, because if you did free pass somebody and a single came around, we saw what happened with what Bobby Witt Jr. was able to do when Maikel Garcia was walked. I think not having a single walk in this game for Ragans really helped him get the win, essentially, because you don't give up that free base runners. Free base runners are always trouble, it feels like.
Yeah, you can't give them away in October. And you have to, when both starting pitchers are going well, you have to create offense. And the Royals did that in the sixth. Maikel Garcia. It's been a tough year for Maikel Garcia. Really a tough year. He's really fallen out of favor, lost a lot of playing time in the second half, justifiably, and was batting ninth in today's game against Corbin Burnes. But here's what Maikel Garcia can do. He can steal a base. He is 37 for 39 in the regular season stealing bases. And Corbin Burnes cannot keep opposing teams from stealing bases. I don't have the stat in front of me. They were like 41 of 47 stealing on Burnes this year. So that was the opportunity to go and try and create a run, and the Royals did it. They got Maikel Garcia into scoring position, stealing that base, and Bobby Witt Jr. had to be him. Drove him in for that go-ahead run. And that's what it's going to have to be for this Royals team. I talked about it a little bit on the No Show Today show, which you can find on our YouTube channel. The Royals are not going to be a team that rides an October wave on the long ball, right? They're not going to bash a bunch of home runs. They're not going to turn into a team that they're not. They're going to have to ham and egg it. They're going to have to keep the line moving. And even if you just get one across, it's big because it puts game pressure on Baltimore, and because your starting pitcher is going so well that one run felt a lot bigger.
I agree with you completely. And I mean, the funny thing about Corbin Burnes, every pitcher's got one thing, right? Or so many pitchers have one thing that they're great. They're awesome. Corbin Burnes is a former Cy Young winner, but they've got that one thing that they're maybe not so great at, and that in this case is not keeping runners on base. They mentioned it during the TV broadcast. Ben McDonald was talking about it, and he said, hey, look, this is something that has been a problem with him all year, and you love to see it be a guy like Maikel Garcia. And Dan, you were just flushing out all the reasons why he has struggled and why he lost playing time, and you're right, deservedly so, missed out on some of that playing time. But man, the fact that you in that spot were able to get production out of a guy who you have not been able to rely on, to go back to that point about reliability, I have no problem with Bobby Witt Jr. getting thrown out on the base paths, honestly. Offense had really slowed down. You're trying to keep the line moving. He's one of the fastest players in baseball. Great, awesome. I have no problem with that, even though he gets thrown out. I'm willing to take the risk there, given how your pitching staff has worked. But for it to be a guy who you haven't been able to rely on, who had the biggest and most successful steal in the game, huge. And you hope that even if that's not going, I'm not kidding myself and saying, all right, that's the moment. Maikel Garcia going to bat 380 the rest of the postseason, and he's going to win ALCS MVP or anything like that. But something positive for a guy like that who you are going to need. It is all hands on deck at this point, because outside of Witt, maybe Salvi, there's not a whole lot you can trust. So if you get a moment like that and you can say, hey, Maikel Garcia, that's a big thing. That's a big moment. Keep doing it. Hopefully you can build on that. There were a couple moments in this game where I thought the Royals almost were able to have that kind of moment. Obviously Witt single, obviously the steal for Maikel Garcia after walking. I thought MJ Melendez got close. I'm as hard on the guy as absolutely anybody, but man, he's scorched. Yeah.
His bats were as good as anybody's.
Yeah, that double play, I mean, that you want to talk about tough luck. First baseman is just standing there waiting for it on the base, lined right to him a million miles an hour. You hope, and I know it's kind of late in the year to be saying, well, the process is good, the production will come. I understand that it's do or die at this point, but you hope, again, you can build on something like that. MJ, don't get down on yourself. We need you to be great as you can be in this moment. You hope the Royals can build on some of these things. And again, the pitching matchups are going to get easier for this offense. Not easy. There's no, Spencer, there's no Patrick Corbin that you're going to be facing here in the next few weeks, but you don't have to face Corbin Burnes again. That's it. You hopefully for the rest of baseball, the Royals just did everybody a favor, and Corbin Burns is done, and no one has to face him anymore. You don't have to face a matchup like that. So you've got this opportunity now against lesser, if still good, but lesser starting pitchers. You hope you can build on moments like this, because we know as much as anybody, guys, they need somebody else who can produce and make plays offensively. And maybe this was one to give them even a little bit of a spark to get going. So maybe tomorrow they can win 2-0.
One thing I want to point out here is something I like about this matchup for the Royals. We talked about the power at Oriole Park at Camden Yards being out to right field and not to left field, because the left field fence is somewhere in the Chesapeake Bay. Like, I don't understand.
Well, it was out at left field a few years ago.
Yes, it was. Then they moved the fences way the heck back. And you saw in this game, a couple of balls hit really well out to left field by right-handed power hitters that just did not travel. Jordan Westberg got a hold of one off of Ragans, died to Melendez's glove. Salvi, I thought, hit one pretty well. Would have been out in the old configuration, but he did not quite get it out of the ballpark against Burns in one of his at-bats. I thought he had decent at-bats too. Not the one in the 8th or the 9th where he struck out, but I thought his other at-bats were pretty good. There were some hard hit balls by the Royals. I really didn't think, like, Burns had 3 strikeouts in 8+. So, like, a lot of bat to ball, which is what the Royals have done well all season. But I digress. The point is, the power's out to right field, which means left-handed power is crucial in this series. Well, Royals threw their one left-handed starter at the Orioles today, but their bullpen is full of some left-handed guys who can come in. Sam Long should be good to go tomorrow. Didn't throw a lot of pitches. Angel Zerpa's fresh. Daniel Lynch is fresh. Bubich threw close to 20 pitches. I'm not looking at his pitch count.
It's exactly 20.
Exactly 20. Well, look at that. Ball knower over here. He should be, I think, ready to come back later in this series. Those left-handed arms are going to be really pivotal, I think, late in games to keep Baltimore in the park. That is Baltimore's big edge over the Royals, their power relative to Kansas City's. But if you keep them in the ballpark and you don't let those left-handers turn and burn and hit one over that big wall onto Utah Street, Baltimore's going to have to create offense. They're not used to that. The Royals are.
Yeah, I would say so. And, one thing I want to point out is everyone this morning, once the roster came out, was so hyped about Vinny Pasquantino coming back on the roster, right? You got to taper expectations a little bit. He hasn't faced an actual pitcher in a game situation in the playoffs. I mean, everything's different. He did strike out once, but it's good for him to get on base and take a walk and be patient in an at-bat. I think that's huge for his confidence as he's coming back, not even on a rehab assignment. All he did was take BP late last week and hit in the cage.
I think that's a really good point, Spencer, that I think if you're expecting Pasquantino to be in his best form, that's probably a fool's errand, but you have to respect him. You have to respect his bat. You have to respect his knowledge of the strike zone. And how you pitch to him is different than how you pitch to the guys who were hitting higher in the order while he was out. And it changes the dynamic a little bit of that order. And being a left-handed guy, maybe he's going to pop one onto Utah Street tomorrow and help the Royals build a big inning that way. 2 more stats I'm going to throw at you guys before we get out of here on this Royals instant reaction. They're both good for the Royals. Number 1, that was the first 1-0 win for the Royals in their playoff history. They had never before won a playoff game by a 1-0 final score. Here's the other stats, great precedent. 16 previous completed best-of-3 series in the playoffs in baseball history. The game 1 winner has won 14 out of those 16 series. It is a massive advantage that the Royals now have in their back pocket, thanks to Bobby Witt Jr., thanks to Cole Ragans, thanks to Lucas Erceg with the guts and the great changeup he brought to the mound to record the 4-out save. And the Royals are 1 win away from the division series and a date with the New York Yankees. It'll be Zach Eflin and Seth Lugo, the pitching matchup tomorrow. 3:38 first pitch. If you're listening on 580 WIBW, you can catch pregame right at the top of the 3 o'clock hour. And you can catch us after the game, hopefully talking about a Royals sweep. For Brendan Dzwierzynski and Spencer Dupuis, I'm Dan Lucero. This has been a Kansas City Royals instant reaction from the 580 Sports Talk gang on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube and WIBW News on Facebook. Have a great night, everybody.